Well, that's a tough act to follow, ain't it?
Answer Bob. Huh? Yeah, you're right there. I read this 125 times, and on the last trip I through it, I didn't cry, so bear with me. You said watch the ceiling fan, you say nothing. I was reflecting on all the things my brother was. He was kind, funny, in his own way. I always had the off-color humor. But most of all, he was dependable. He was an amazing father figure to lots of kids, not just his own. He was a loving father. He was a loving husband. But most of all, he was my big brother. Many times he introduced me to people, and he'd say, "This is my little brother, Bruce." Of course, I was 6 inches taller than him. I went with it, because I always respected my brother. He would call me and say, "Dude, I need you and your truck." Or, "Dude, I need you and your tools." And I would just go. The same went for him, whenever he needed me. Of course, a lot of times, around 8:30, he'd start yawning, so sometimes I waited until tomorrow. Best was his advice. Over the years, he talked me through some tough times, including career choices, financial issues, and life in general. Always supporting me in my choices. But I want to touch on what John wasn't. Never saw him mean. Never saw him spiteful. Never cheat. In fact, he was the most generous person I know, except for maybe my sister Karen. He would take all the kids to the shore. His, mine, Tammy's, Paul's, Katrina's, the list goes on and on. And not only did he take them, but he would treat them like his own, which meant lots of beach time, amusements, games, souvenirs, and of course, Mac and Mango pizza. Never really saw him mad at his sons. Well, except for the lawnmower incidents. There was a time his oldest son, John, gave the lawnmower to a repair service by mistake. It turned out okay because they got the mower back and serviced for free. Then there was a time that Jason drove the mower through the basement doors, in which John called me and asked, "I need your tools and a basement door." I'm making it, I'm doing it. Never really saw John show any anger. Well, except for Gennardi's supermarket. When they first came out with the scanners for the supermarket, they had a price guarantee. Scans right or it's free. And if they scanned it wrong, he got it for free. The only other time I can think of that he really showed anger was when it came to his arch enemy in life, the cable company. All they had to do was raise his price on his invoice without notification, and my brother would call and say, "Come get your equipment." Usually, they would cower down and give in to his demands. Those last few weeks were extremely painful on him. I am thankful for the time I had with him at the end, especially our last few moments together when I got to say to him, "I love you," and he replied, "Love you." It's John, big brother. Rest easy until we see each other again. Miss you and love you, brother. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to say thank you, Bruce, because my composure just went out the window. Before I get started, before I lose all of my composure, Pastor, I want to tell you that it's been probably 40 years since I've been in this building. And when I walked in today, it was a very pleasant memory and the beauty of this church. The architecture, it was just amazing memory from my childhood. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the last time I was in this church was the day John joined. I had a lot I wanted to say, and usually I'm pretty good at saying it. Unfortunately, it just went out the window. John was my brother. No matter what the blood relation was, John was my brother. John and I worked together, and really he worked, and I was kind of along just to keep company. We worked at a company called Hatfield Meats in, I'm sorry, my memory's failing me. Oh, Hatfield Field. At first we worked, I helped John, we would steam clean the smokehouses. And then the job transferred into, we did security overnight. And Sue and I, we were talking about that yesterday, and John had a tendency to fall asleep, as everybody knows. 8 p.m., 9 p.m. comes. And so I was there, and we would try to keep each other awake. And one of the ways we would keep each other awake was, there was rolling desk chairs in the guard's office. And we used to have races backwards around the office in those chairs. So one night we had worked, and I just remember at this time whether it was cleaning the smokehouses or whether it was being security guards. But one night we worked, and it was a very wintry Pennsylvania night. And I'm now living in Arizona, and I can tell you that I do not miss that at all, period, in the sentence. Ice on the road. So we were driving home, and John had a car. And Sue's wearing a mask, but I can see Sue getting ready to smile at this. John had a 1967 RS Camaro. And if anybody's here that is old enough to remember a 1967 RS Camaro, they had a racing stripe over the hood and the fenders that looked like a mustache. And John's car was yellow, and John loved that car. That was his baby. And I remember when he traded it in, and he traded it in on Ford. And John, God will forgive you for doing that. And something went wrong with the Ford, and he got his Camaro back. But we were riding home one night, and it was this dark, stormy night. And I know that's usually how horror stories begin, but it is not. We were riding home, and this is a story about John's character. We were driving down this road, and a fellow skidded off the road. And I said to John, "Think that guy needs help?" And John said, "Yes." And everything that you're not supposed to do on ice, braking, steering, John did. And he stopped. He didn't hesitate. And that was John's life. And we may have went our separate ways in life. But John, Bruce, and Frank, you're all my big purpose. always will be. Thank you.
This time, if anybody would like to share a memory or anything of John, you can come up. And actually, I think that pulpit probably has the best microphone. That's why I put people there. So feel free to come up and be sure and introduce yourself and say how you knew John.
Good morning. I'm Father Steve Nelson. I was the assistant here for a long time while Bob Coble was the rector. And I just want to express my love and admiration and thanksgiving to John for all he's done for so many people. But I have a couple stories of what he did for my wife and I. Back in the early 80s, we purchased our first home here in Norristown up on Sandy Street. It wasn't the greatest place, but it was serviceable. We very much wanted to switch from oil heat to gas. And when John heard about that, he was right there. He enlisted the help of his brother, who we called Tiny, and I assumed that was Bruce. And later on, Louise was pregnant with Amanda, and we very much wanted to have a bathroom on the second floor where the bedrooms were. The only one we had was in the basement. John heard about that. We pretty soon had a very nice bathroom on the second floor. John was and is the greatest, loving, caring, helping. We're going to miss you, John. Thank you for all your help.
Reverend Chris, who's saying that it be, has offered his, I can bring a microphone, but he's offered his little speaker so that if people feel a little less intimidated and would like to share with other people, we'll have a speaker and a microphone there at the reception so that somebody can holler, be quiet, or tap a glass, and maybe we'll hear a few short stories there. Karen is going to finish things up before we head out for the reception, which is the information's in your bulletin.
On behalf of Sue, Jason, and John, and the whole family, we thank you for honoring John with your presence here today. I'm John's older sister, and I love my brother. He is simply amazing, and I can't imagine my life or any one of our lives without him. John's deep compassion, great generosity, and contagious laughter enriched all who knew him. In pictures of John at age 8 with his brothers, and with him at 58 with his sons, John's hand always cradled his shoulder. And I saw John do that to his mother just now. This simple act speaks volumes of John's deep compassion, his calm, steadying presence, always offering unconditional love. John had his charming but devilish ways. When we were kids, he talked our mother into buying this real alligator that was stuffed, with the promise that he would keep it in his bedroom and not let his sister know about it. Well, I guess if anyone knows John, you know the end of the story. The gator ended up in someone's bed, and I awoke screaming when that gator was at my feet. John made life fun. He was the fun dad, the fun uncle, often seen in the kiddie pool, or spoiling you with red licorice and taffy. John's love of people showed through in his work, as seen in the lifelong friendships he made with his co-workers, customers, and competitors alike. I did not get the miracle of John being healed, and I prayed it so hard, and I questioned my faith. Why would God not heal John? Because I really believed he would. But God had other miracles in store for me the last few weeks. The enormous outpouring of love of his friends and family. Sue's stack of cards. The flower became a walk in the house. Thank you so much for your generosity to the family. The other miracles were his wide smile. Is that John? Is that John? Yeah, John's here. The fatherly pride, with Jason following in his footsteps at Duff Company. And this one, seeing John write "Together Forever" in the 25th anniversary card to his wife and best friend Sue. How many years? 45. Okay, 45. What's 20 years? A lifetime for some of us? Okay, 45. But he actually lived, Father Coble, to the day to celebrate with his wife. And then to hear on his last words he spoke, "Brother, I love you." Those were my miracles that God gave me. And I ask you, who needs superheroes when they have a brother like John? Right? Right. And in closing, we little knew that day God was going to call your name. In life, we loved you dearly. In death, we do the same. It broke our hearts to lose you. You did not go alone, for part of us went with you. The day we were with you, and God called you home. You left us beautiful memories. Your love is still our guide, and although we cannot see you, you're always at our side. Our family chain is broken. Nothing seems the same. But as God calls us one by one, our family chain will link again. and the poems on the back of the prayer card. Thank you.